folks, Humpy Wheeler again, and here to talk tonight about a guy who was not only a heck of a race driver, but one of the best salesmen I ever knew. We call him the Black Cat. Who was the Black Cat? The Black Cat was this cat that we used to see down at the Cowpen Speedway at Cowpen, South Carolina. Now, if you think I'm making that name up, you're wrong. Look in your history books. Cowpens was the scene of a great battle between loyalist forces and the rebels. We won, and it helped turn the tide of Revolutionary War. But anyway, close to the Cowpens battlefield was a historic little racetrack called the Cowpen Speedway, right off what is now Highway 85, north of Spartanburg. A little quarter-mile track, and it was beautiful red clay. And on Friday night, it was shootout at the OK Corral. Everybody that had a flathead Ford would come down there and race on Friday night. And they'd come from the hills of Tennessee, they'd come out of the mountains of North Carolina, South Carolina. You never knew who was going to show up. Now, it was what we called in those days an outlaw track, meaning it wasn't an outlaw, it was non-NASCAR. And that was back in the days when Bill France Sr. declared, if you run a non-sanctioned NASCAR race, you will be suspended from NASCAR. So they called them outlaw races, and people would change their name. Ned Setzer, famous short track racer, his name was Walt Drum when he was running on the outlaw track. Bobby Isaac had another nom de plume, as did David Pearson, etc. You never knew who was going to be there, and you'd say, oh, David, how you doing? My name's not David tonight. My name's Carl. Oh, how you doing, Carl? Whatever your name is now. At any rate, it was pretty fun. And it'd be nothing to have 60 or 70 little lightweight 34, 32 Fords down there racing with those powerful flathead engines in it. Well, I remember when I was racing, and folks, let me tell you, I was not a good race driver. I liked contact too much. Football and boxing were my sports. Racing wasn't. I would hit whatever there was to hit on the track. Fence, other cars, didn't make any difference. Well, at any rate, I didn't know I wasn't any good in those days. I was just a wild teenager. But I was down there and my car wasn't running too good. Well, the cars that were running pretty good, one of them was a guy named, he had it painted appliance white. And it was appliance white because he got that paint at Sears and Roebuck. And on the side of it was number 13 and a black cat painted on it. Nobody did that in those days. He did. He was flying. So I'm saying, I went up to him, I said, Cat, I know you got some juice in that car nobody else has got. Where can I get some? Oh, he says, I got just what you need, son. I can make you go a second lap faster. Well, you know, when you're 16 years old and somebody says a second lap, and I said, well, how much is this second lap going to cost me? He says, $3. In normal English, that's $3. But at any rate, $3 didn't sound like a bad deal to pick up half. My bicycle shop had done pretty good that week, so I said, okay. He says, get in the car. We got to go out of the track to get it. It's so potent, I can't bring it to the track. I thought, man, this stuff better be strong. So we took off. Now, nobody likes to leave a racetrack when you get there if you're driving. You just don't want to do that. But he promised me that his place wasn't far away. Well, it was 2 miles away. And we come back into this trailer. He had a trailer on this lot that did not have a blade of grass on it. It had a bunch of tires. It had some old wrecked race cars on it, 4 or 5 engine blocks, 8 or 9 rear ends, and a few other decrepit things. And this old house trailer that was leaning to one side and 3 or 4 dirty kids running around. So he said, come on in the house. So he got up to the door, and the door's got black fingerprints all over it. You would never worry about who broke in that place because the fingerprints were already there. So we opened the door. We went in this very, very unkept trailer, And we walked into his refrigerator, his once white refrigerator, which was also filled with black fingerprints. We opened the door, and there was 25 Stromberg carburetors inside of it. There was about 10 jugs of milk that looked like milk. And I said, "Where's the juice, Cat?" "Well, he brings one of the milk bottles out. This is the juice. A gallon of it is $3. So this is when gas was selling for 25 cents a gallon. So I parted with my $3, and I never forget that gallon of gas of milk had a black cat printed on it in stencil, you know. And so I took that thing back to the track, I put it in my car, and I swear, folks, I went faster. The cat pulled that off for years, a black cat juice. And found out later, never really found out what it was, but somebody said, "Oh, all that was Amoco white gas. Made the car octane go up better." Well, I never really found out what it was, but I thought that night I was going faster. And so I go back to the Cowpen Speedway. This is not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago. The place has been closed about 30 years. Guy's got a truck stop up close to it. I got to walk through the truck stop to get to the old track, which is now overgrown with trees. I want to take a dirt sample because they had great dirt. I asked the guy that ran the place, I said, "I want to go back to the Speedway. Take a dirt sample. You mind if I walk through here?" He said, "What track?" And I thought to myself, oh my Lord, this man does not know. He's got a truck stop right in front of one of the most popular dirt tracks of all time. And I told him about that. And he says, "I can't believe I've been here 20 years, didn't know there was a racetrack behind here. Can I go back there with you?" So I took him back there. And it was getting kind of late in the afternoon. It was, you know, shadows coming over it. And I showed him where the first and second turn was. You could see it. I showed him where old grandstands were. They'd already returned to earth because they were just old pine boards anyway. I said, on Friday night, this place came alive. 50, 60 race cars, lots of noise. The place was packed. People were gambling about whether the 4 car would win or the 22 car or whoever it was. And then they'd guess, well, that's not really Joe Smith in that car. That's really David Pearson. That's why the car's running so good. The best driver there, though, was a guy named Paul Ghost. He was from Elizabethton, Tennessee. And he'd come down the mountains out of Tennessee, pulling a little 32 Ford coupe. And he would dust everybody off, and nobody ever figured out what it was. I suspect maybe he might have paid a visit to Black Cat's trailer. That's the story of the Cowpen Speedway.